Borderlands 4 is filled with hidden tricks and combat secrets you really need to know, and I made this video under the assumption that you already have a basic understanding of how the game works. No beginner's crap. Nah, these are advanced tips, and I would bet $1,000 hairs there's something in this video you've never seen before. Here we have a pro gamer trick, so you can be cheeky and throw grenades or throwing knives while you are reloading to skip through the reload animation, saving you precious time in your dangerous battles. Every second counts when you're clapping dirty ass cheeks. There is now energy shields and armor in Borderlands 4, so here's a few tips. Just in general, if you're constantly in the fight, right in the thick of battle like a close combat or melee build, then armor can be quite useful, because armor consistently regenerates over time, regardless of whether you get damaged. It is replenishing every second, unlike energy shields, and if you're playing super aggressively, you may not get that 4 to 5 second reprieve from taking damage that you need to begin recharging your energy shields. So energy shields are best for less aggressive fighting, like dipping in and out of combat, maybe a sniper for example, but armor can be better for more aggressive fighting styles, that up in your ugly face smelling my garlic breath combat style. Also keep in mind that armor is not solely defense points. Armor also applies damage reduction, so 400 points of armor is technically superior to 400 points of energy shield, because the armor's got that damage reduction on top. There's one particular farming location that I need to show y'all. Whether you're level 20, 30, or 50, this spot is great. It's the Ripper drill site up north. Basically, you respawn hordes and hordes of enemies, not only to quickly grind up your level, but also access to infinite loot dropping. Plus, if you want to test out certain weapons or builds, this is the perfect place to experiment with build crafting. There's also, I'd say, more of a mid-game farming location, good for around level 20. That's the Pitted Stain down south. You'll come across this area when you're still a bit lower level. However, if you're just starting out and you want a solid boss fight to farm juicy loot even earlier in the game, get yourself a legendary weapon at level 5. This dude here is perfect. Splash Zone. You may have seen him before. His location is down in the south next to a silo. He's great because you can spank him, walk 10 feet back to the vending machines, sell all your loot, and restart the boss fight. Boom, it's all right there. And this naughty big boy is holding on to multiple unique legendaries. Dude, just 30 minutes of farming him and I got several legendaries. A legendary shotgun, a legendary ordnance. I received 2 different energy shields, one being redonkulous, shooting out missiles whenever I get a kill. I mean, that's some beautiful shit right there. Plus, I even got a wacky ass sniper that literally shoots the domes off dudes, like their heads evaporate. I'm not 100% certain what the hell this weapon is doing, but it is certainly diabolical, and I love it. This is not so much of a tip, it's more so of a rule, an extremely important rule. You must choose hard difficulty. Choosing any other option will bring dishonor and disgrace your entire family. So, elemental damage is more important than ever in Borderlands 4, but you should know that they tweaked and tuned the elemental strengths and weaknesses, so it's actually pretty solid and straightforward now. Think of it like this. You got 3 elements that are super effective against only a single type of health. You got shock, fire, and corrosive. These are very strong against one type, but not viable at all for the other types of health. However, cryo and radiation are the more flexible elements. So in my opinion, the best combination of elements you can get is cryo and radiation together. Cryo is strong against armor, radiation is strong against shield, and they're both viable against flesh. So you got everything covered with just these 2 elements. Having that versatility is indeed worth it, so you don't have to constantly swap weapons around. And speaking of elements and damage mechanics, it's always good to actually inspect your weapons because they might be rocking insane stats without you realizing it. For example, Jacob's weapons will have varying critical hit multipliers. Seemingly, this rifle here looks like it should deal more damage. However, the other rifle has a significantly higher critical hit boost, which makes a drastic difference in total DPS. So be sure to inspect your best weapons. You can also browse the menus to find all your personal stats, damage reduction, elemental boost, everything. This is not some secret gameplay mechanic, but listen, I highly advise you simply use the weapons you enjoy and feel good to you, because you do not need to min-max optimize your build to the fullest until the end game, like level 30, 40, 50. While you're first leveling up and progressing, it is not worth it to stare at your loadout screen for 50% of your playtime analyzing your guns, especially since this user interface is kind of doo-doo hot dog water trash. So yeah, it's simply not necessary to be fully optimized until later in the game. So use the weapons that feel good. For me, I love shooting the domers off these dumplings with Jacob's weapons, like snipers and rifles.
He's fucking dead.
Here are some tips for the hunters. Firstly, if you want to dominate and break the game, use Rafa's Peacebreaker cannons. Simple as that. However, Siren has been my main hunter. The Necromancer skill is powerful, efficient, and fun as hell. You can spawn 3 specters together, line them up like a damn firing squad, melting through every scrub in their sight. It's awesome because spawning specters can increase critical hit chance for everyone. So if you spawn all 3 together, it'll stack up and give a very high chance of critical hits with every bullet. So of course, you then combine that with a weapon or build that focuses on buffing critical hit damage, and boom, you are schmoggling everyone. Also, these specters are great for pesky flying enemies that are difficult to hit. You drop 1 or 2 specters down and let their automatic aim finish the job. And then you got the Reapers that taunt enemies and take aggro for you, making them fantastic defenders when you're in a sticky situation. So it's a beautiful synergy of offense and defense. Oh, and by the way, since specters can't move, make sure to place them at advantageous positions where they can get good angles. Think of them like mounted machine guns. Now, I'm talking about this specific skill tree for Vex because I believe this is the best and even most fun to level up with. Specifically to level up with. When you're progressing up to level 20, 30, 40, this skill tree is legit. For enhancements and modifiers, it doesn't explicitly tell you that this top half is solely for the specific weapon family. However, underneath, that shows additional effects that will work for any weapon you wield across the board. Also, when it comes to weapon manufacturers, it's good to know all the family types because, for example, Maliwan always uses elemental damage. So if you see an item that buffs Maliwan type weapons, then you know, boom, that's elemental damage. Or if you find an item that buffs Jacob's weapons, boom, you know that's good for critical hits and sharp accuracy. So it's good to at least get familiar with the particular weapon families that you prefer most. As I'm sure you've seen, whenever you are rewarded with items or weapons, most of the time they scale to your current level, right? So sometimes it may be wise to hold off on certain rewards until you're a higher level. Here's a perfect example. When you reach Carcadia Burn, you'll come across a side mission called Vend of the Line. Now, I recommend you don't complete this while you're still a low level, because if you do, the legendary reward will scale to your current lower level. So instead, wait until you're at least level 30, 40, or even max level 50, because then it's guaranteed to give you a beefy legendary bad boy at a higher level with superior stats. So keep in mind, Vend of the Line should stay on the side until later. Spitting bars. When you get trapped in one of these black holes, you should know you cannot simply run out of it. You must jump and dash away to escape. One of the most infuriating parts of this game can be the fast-moving, flying-type enemies. They can be problematic when using projectile weapons. Something more like hit-scan-type weapons would be much better. Weapons that use regular metal bullets can connect shots much easier compared to slow projectiles. Also, cryo damage is great against flyers, as cryo will slow down or even drop enemies to the ground. So you get a sharp and accurate SMG, rocking cryo damage, and freeze them flying dingleberries right out of the sky. In the previous game, when you accepted a side quest, it almost always scaled to your current level. If you grabbed up a quest at level 12, that quest is going to remain level 12 forever. But this game is different. Now, if a quest says it's hard, then it's going to be hard whether you're level 12 or later when you're level 40. So this means you can and should grab up every quest you come across. This way, whenever you're feeling like doing side content, you'll have a whole list of missions to choose from, without needing to go back to every single starting location to begin that mission. So feel free to accept every quest you interact with. The grappler can be used mid-combat for more than simply throwing around explosives. It can also give you a positional advantage, aka the high ground. If you're getting absolutely schmoggled down on, bullets flying everywhere, then instead of looking for cover, you could look up for any ledges or buildings that can give you an advantageous position, or at least allow you to swing across the battlefield like fucking Tarzan, dodging bullets, and then find yourself some cover. Oh, and another strategy you can implement while getting schmoggled down is hopping on your Digi-Runner. It essentially gives you a fresh body of defense while you regenerate your shields. So if you're almost dead with no healing kits available, resort to your Digi-Runner. Now in a video like this, you always gotta have some tips for the settings. Firstly, turn off grapple view tilt. Just trust me, turn it off. Also, as far as the radar goes, I prefer having the radar on for multiple reasons. Number one, you can more easily perceive the number of enemies around you, like how many enemies are grouped together. Number two, the radar actually shows the distance of enemies, how far they are, which is important. And lastly, I feel like the compass can get a bit messy with all locations and all the red enemy symbols, so using the radar cleans up the UI. For controller chads on console, you'll definitely want to custom button map the more vital actions, such as jump, slide, grapple, and of course, your hunter abilities. Those are the most significant actions and should get preferred treatment for button mapping, as you'll be using these constantly in combination together. For example, my right thumbstick, my R3, is how I jump, and R1 is how I slide, so I can slide and jump around while aiming my shots. I'm sure you've seen these field events pop up with a boss fight. You can easily see the bubble from a distance, but sometimes they spawn off screen or to the side, although thankfully you can hear the audio cue when they activate. So keep your ears peeled for that noise. On the billboards, you'll find contracts. Now, I recommend you fill up your 5 slots with bounty and patrol contracts. Just ignore the rest, because many bounty and patrol missions will be completed simply as you play through the game, or at the least, you'll pass right by their location as you progress. You usually don't need to go out of your way to complete those. I'm sure you know that if you ever get lost, you can always whip out Echo 4 and he'll show you the true path to eternal light. But you should also know that dropping your custom pin on the map will show you a proper path to that destination as well. And it can be very helpful, especially for certain locations like complex hills or caves. It'll show you the best route right to the objective. Here's another pro gamer tip. So in boss fights, you can leave 1 or 2 smaller scrub enemies alive on the side. Don't finish all of them off, because they are the living sacrifices for you to kill and revive yourself in case you go down. Dropping and crawling around in a boss fight with no weaker enemies around to revive yourself with is just tragic, quite tragic. Alrighty, my fellow jabronis, now it's your turn. Please comment down below any tips or tricks that I missed, your thoughts and opinions on anything, and drop a fat like if you made it this far in the video. I got a ton more Borderlands content coming. I'm working hard, getting zero sleep, so subscribe for more. I thank you very much for watching. I truly appreciate you, and I'll talk to you later. Stay golden.